did I not send? Yes. Yes. Sorry, y'all. My Chromebook is low on juice. Okay, guys. We are going to go ahead and get started because I'm 3 minutes in and I can't yet because Sorry about that, Carol. Sorry, guys. Carol, I sent that thing to Yahoo. I'm not sure if that's where we sent the other one or not. But that's the only thing that's popping up. So today, sorry for taking so long to get to you guys. It's been a crazy day. Or at least a crazy little bit. Before we get into all of the information on the Cuban crocodile, let's take a look at some information first. So the Cuban crocodile is not the one in the thumbnail. Sorry about that. It is critically endangered. Number trend or population trend is decreasing. Number of mature individuals is about 2,400. Now, this species is confined to one little peninsula on the island of Cuba, or in Cuba, I should say. And it is confined to the Zapata, Z-A-P-A-T-A peninsula in Cuba. There are 10 AZA facilities breeding the Cuban crocodile in the United States. As the time of the article that I was researching on said, there were 13 males and 22 females for a total of 35 animals in the United States within zoos. Now, I don't know the additional 3 zoos that were listed on this article, but they are the Bronx Zoo, the Gladys Porter Zoo, the Louisville Zoo, St. Louis Zoo, Sedgwick County Zoo, the Smithsonian National Zoo, and the St. Augustine Alligator Farm. It's also being bred at a crocodile farm in Cuba. So, what exactly is being done to save these animals? Well, zoos are involved in support of this animal. I forgot to do something. I gotta do it. Hopefully I can do this without hurting myself. Let's say I forgot to charge my Chromebook of all the silly things to do. So the zoos are involved in support of in situ, which is in its native range, as well as outside. And they're involved in that outside in breeding, research, field work, which is actually in Cuba, and educational outreach in Cuba and abroad. So they're doing a wide range of stuff to help the Cuban croc. That's wonderful. You know, when you go to do something and you're in a rush to do it, it does you no good to do it. So according to a report that I saw on the species from the AZA, the species is stable. And that's primarily a good thing. But it's still endangered, still critically endangered. One of the things that zoos are working on is genetic integrity for this species, and that sounds really, really deep and maybe even a little bit what. But basically, what that means is that the animal is not doing super, super good in its native land. So there's that. So basically what's happening with this genetic integrity thing is the American crocodile is spreading its range here, there, and everywhere. And that is allowing the Cuban crocodile to meet this other alligator. Or this other crocodile, sorry. I did not mean to say alligator. And their genes are getting mixed. Sort of like we talked about with the bison a couple weeks ago on, I think, the other channel. Darn it. Yeah. It's also being bred. So the wetlands that this species lives in is one of Cuba's most endangered ecosystems on top of everything. This animal is also an apex predator in its natural population. That's I'm getting text. Well, the problem is it's not swimming in the ocean. The Cuban crocs are meeting it. But the Cuban croc can. Or the American alligator can, sorry. I can't talk today. I can't talk today. And that was borderline really bad. And I apologize if that offended anybody. The American crocodile is entering their habitat because things are changing. Remember, Cuba is an island. The American crocodile has a huge range. It's not limited. When I say North America, it's in more than just United States. So this animal is able to hop, skip, and jump. The Cuban croc can also be in. The American crocodile can be in South America, Central America, probably parts of Mexico. It has a pretty big range. Exactly how big? So, all of the Caribbean? No, because technically, it's the Americas, and it was probably first seen in Florida. Or something like that. So it's basically found in most of the Caribbean, the part of southern Mexico, into South America. Not all parts of it, but definitely some parts of it. Some threats to this animal include illegal hunting, habitat modification, hybridizing, raising sea levels, because again, as the salt water rises, as the ocean rises, low-lying areas will get sort of mixed. The introduction of the speculated caiman, black rat, domestic cat, as well as catfish could also be impacting the species. Reason being, they will eat the babies. Top priorities for the action plan for the species include new field studies to count the mature individuals and give scientists a better idea of how many crocodiles are actually out there. Ecological studies as well as genetic studies to study the rate at which the animals are hybridizing and the impacts that might have on the ecosystem, as well as protection for the wild population, because what's the point of doing all of this if the animals aren't protected? Because they are being hunted, they're being poached for their meat. Another thing they're trying to do is education and activism, as well as captive breeding. It should also be noted that the United States had its first record of Cuban crocodiles appearing in our zoos, happened in the 1900s. So the first Cuban crocodile in zoos in the United States happened in 1900s. Sadly, breeding didn't happen until the mid 1970s. The AZA zoos raise money for Cuban crocodile research. They also do their own research, and various zoos across the country are involved in educational programs that educate the public on the animal. So that was a whole bunch of yakety, yakety, yakety. Really don't have... I don't know why. It seems like some things I have a ton of stuff on, and other times it feels like I have absolutely zero. Today's one of those days where I have absolutely nothing. Yeah, so basically that's what I have. I am gonna see if I can dig up some more stuff though. Um, so yeah, Cuban crocodile. Not, I don't think it's as in bad shape as the last animal we looked at, which I believe was the orangutan. It's also found on the Isle of Children, I think is the name of it. And that's where they're having a lot of the issues with imported animals. Yeah, you have to play around with it. So between the 1970s and 2015, roughly 35% of the world's wetlands have disappeared, vanished. So there is a biosphere reserve in Cuba, and it is the largest bioreserve. It was founded in 2001, and it is home to nearly 100, I'm sorry, 1,100 known plants and vertebrate species, and over 1,000 invertebrate species. The swamp is ecologically, culturally, and economically significant to the Cuban people. It was reintroduced on this other island, and they have the most restricted range of any crocodile species on Earth. And because of this hybridization that's happening, they run the risk of losing their genetic identity, which is not good. Um, yeah, but we see the same thing in the national parks in Africa. So, um, yeah. The Cuban crocodile farm manages up to 4,000 pure Cuban crocodiles at any one time. Well, you have to have enough people to cover all areas of the park. Um, and if you don't, then people can sneak in. They also have done where they go in and they do health checks on the animals, where they test for such things as heavy metals and pesticides. So just a little bit about these animals. For males, so for a nest of males, you need temperature ranges of 32 degrees to 34 degrees Celsius. Cooler than that or warmer than that, and you produce females. And they can't say, well, a baby of this size, if they are ever this size, they can't tell you how big it is by the size of it. Or, not making any sense tonight. They can't sex the animal until it's at least 3 years old. So, staff at the crocodile farm have documented an overabundance of female hatchlings with very few males. One male for every 50 females. So they have to figure out how to fix their incubation. So they did that. And hopefully that'll help. Cuban crocodiles are also known for doing these thrusts out of the water. It's like jumping, basically, and they use their tail to do it. And so there can be a bird up in a tree that they want to eat, and they will push themselves using that tail up out of the water, catch it, and bring it back down. And they are also, so these guys grow to be about 10.5 feet, with males growing larger than the females. These guys are also, if I remember right, pretty fast. They can live for 50 to 75 years. A little bit about at the zoo. They get fed croc pellets, rats, rabbits, and fish occasionally. A average number of eggs for a female is 30 to 40 eggs. Of course, that sort of depends on the size and age of the mother. Yeah. But If you can get the temperatures right, which is in Fahrenheit, it's 89.6 to 90.5 degrees Fahrenheit to get males. So it's a window, basically. You have to get the window just right. Or you're not gonna get males. And they are really good at like moving about. Let's see. So you talked about, or we talked about how the American crocodiles were getting into the swamp. That's because they built canals into the swamp, and that's how the American crocodiles are getting into the marsh or into the swamp, because of those canals. Yeah, always. Also in 2022, the Smithsonian lost one of their Cuban crocs, a male. So yeah, um, crocodiles are an interesting animal. They're very intelligent, believe it or not. They can learn their names. Um, so yeah, Cuban crocs need our help. I need to respond to something. If I lose you, I'm sorry. Hello. Yeah, I had to respond to a text, unfortunately. They are so smart that they will wait to see if you tell them to do something. Oh, yeah, probably because I said it while I was out. And these animals will even test you to see if you're going to provide food. They have a female at the National Zoo, and she only listens to one person. If one of the other people tell her to do something, she'll ignore them. She is 60 years old. They also have a female named Blanche, and she's dangerous, but she's also very smart. And they're trained to do this by name. So they don't go into the exhibit with them in there. Thank you. If he goes in with a rake used to keep the animals away from you, they would just take the rakes away from you and then come at you. So they don't go, like I said, they don't go into the exhibit. Occasionally they get a cow's leg that they can rip into. The crocodile thing that I mentioned is the equivalent of dog kibble for crocodiles. They're about the size, a little bit bigger than a golf ball, and it has everything that a crocodile needs to survive. Yeah. Um, very rarely do zoos necessarily get it right when it comes to diet. They do get mammals, birds, fish, along with the crocs or along with the biscuits, but it rotates what they get. So it's not the same food every day. The important thing is that they're nutritionally okay. It's based on what we can get in the United States. They do some of that. That's one of the things that zoos do, but not the ones that have been kept in the zoo for an extended period of time, because they wouldn't know how to hunt. More than likely. But they do release some babies. As well as some of the places in Cuba. These guys will even hunt together. So what they would do, more than likely, is they would hatch out babies. And they might say, well, we're going to keep some and send the rest. Because you don't want to take them to wild to keep your stock of crocodiles. So then you would develop a game plan for how to reintroduce them. If what is a new thing? The hunting together thing? No, I think that's I think that's just Cuban Crocs. They're just a different animal. Yes, it is. I've already read that. See, if they don't get the genetics right, then you no longer, these hybrids with the American crocodile, they're not a pure Cuban crocodile. It's sort of like having a new subspecies. Or a new species. Why is it? There it goes. Yeah. Apparently, this animal would have also lived on the Cayman Islands and the Bahamas. They apparently would also feed on turtles in the wild, which I believe that. So there may be as many as 1,000 in captivity. That includes United States, Europe. I couldn't find anything for the European zoos on this one. Guys, we're 49 minutes in. I'm going to say good night. Have a great week. See you on Thursday for this channel. I have to look and see what this channel is doing. For its next live, other than it's probably something animal related. Oh, what is on my most wanted list? So that'll be a thing. So I will see you then. Remember to never give up on yourself and always keep learning. And I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.